Hi. We're 3 seconds in. I didn't start. That's radio silence, that is. And it's also ironic that I'm now about to improvise a whole podcast that's all about how to plan and why to plan when you do everything and anything, which is completely against what I think or I've thought up until this point. So what happened was I went to start studying to learn to get better at telling stories. I've always been compelling on stage. It sounds so big-headed, but I literally don't use that word very often, although I literally used it just then. Mainly what happens to me is I can talk. I can get in front of groups and I can talk. We can pick a subject, I can craft it in a way that sounds like it's been built years before, sits around a structure of some kind, has an outcome. I bring it all together at the end. I've talked a lot about the different archetypes of story in these podcasts, and I've tried to sort of help you understand how to define journeys for clients. And at phase one, if you look back, I think I did an alright job. You know, I was talking about how you get them from A to B, how you have to help them over their roadblocks, and how they need to be the hero, you need to be the guru, that sort of thing. But I wanted to push myself further. So I spent a lot of time at looking at two sides of story and really learning some important lessons on excellence and not on story necessarily. So the two sides of story, you have improvisation, which is where you're not sure what's going to happen. In your head, you have an idea of what a story looks like, and you can direct that story as you start to talk to the other person. And you can assign yourself a role, and you can talk them into a role, and eventually at the end of it you end up with some kind of story that the client takes a client through this sort of emotional journey. And I kind of understood that earlier. I've talked about the reverse bell curve graph of story, and I really wanted to explore that more. So in improvisation, it's all about you understand what the client wants, and you listen to them, and you use what was brilliantly described as athletic athletic listening, which was an amazing way of saying, I need to hear every word, I need to hear what you're trying to tell me, and then I need to summarise it and give it back to you and use it to build each part of your experience. And I thought that was good, and I don't think that was a bad start. My students did well from it. It was a good thing. And then the great thing about improvisation is you're reacting and building together this story with the person you're with. And I think the skills of improvisation are very important when things don't go to plan, when reactions don't turn out the way you want, and right up at the start when you meet someone, you're trying to figure them out. And so some of the things you learn in improvisation, some of the things include agreeing with the reality, whatever that is. Not necessarily agreeing with the client, but agreeing with their reality. So if they say, I'm overweight because I must be unlucky, I eat well and I train hard. And you know that overweight, unless it's a medical problem, is an imbalance of energy. There's a larger amount of energy coming into the body than going out. You know that it's normally the solution is sat there in food over exercise. There's that really naff statement, can't outrun a bad diet. I mean, clearly you can outrun a bad diet. If you lay 4 Big Macs on the floor and you stand next to it and you race them over 100 metres, doesn't matter how unfit you are, I'm still, my money's on the human over the Big Mac. Unless there's a huge wind, obviously. And I know that's not what they meant, but I'm just trying to make a point. The point is, this person in front of you has gained weight because of a medical reason or because they eat more than they burn, and it's harder to burn the calories than it is to just not eat them in the first place. But you've got to accept their reality. So you can start with that. You can say, look, I understand that your focus needs to be directed, because at the moment your perception of what you're eating and your perception of how you're exercising is creating a deficit in energy, so you should be losing weight. But clearly you're not, because that's why you're here with me. So clearly there's something wrong in that equation, and I want to help sort of work out where that's happening and why. So I'm going to start with a medical screen, and then we're going to work from there. But what you're doing is you're allowing them that space. Now, that's one way of getting sort of close to what they want. Another better way would be to what's called get in their boat. And so this was it's a brilliant term that I stole off a guy called Jason, who's a very good improvisation teacher in LA. And Jason uses it when you go on stage with someone. If they make a statement, then the statement's ridiculous and you don't agree with the statement, then what he says is create a big enough boat that you can agree at some level. So in this scenario, the person comes in and says, I'd like to lose weight. I think I should be losing weight because I don't eat a lot and I train a lot and I always train really hard. And you need to then get into the boat. Now, they can't be eating well if they're training hard, or they can't be training hard enough if they're eating well. So something's going wrong somewhere along the line. More than likely, they're not realising how much they're eating, and they're overestimating how much they burn when they exercise. But getting to their boat. So what you can agree on in that statement is, I think it's a great thing that you want to lose weight, and I really want to be able to help you with that. So I'm in the boat. They want to lose weight. I want them to lose weight. We're in the boat. And now we can start to discuss things. So then you might start going into your so-so, why, or why, so-so. If you don't know what that is, it's in the mentorship, and we just teach it as a way of trying to get under the skin of what people are saying. Now, improv's going to lead you down this line, but what's going to happen is at some point you're probably going to find a contradiction between their characteristic, which means the person comes in with an idea of what they want to present to you, and that's their characteristics, but underneath that is their character, and that could be different. And the characteristics they show you might be different characteristics to the ones they show their mates in the pub or their friends at work or their spouse or family. So their character, that's their sort of inner contradictions. So like love versus hate, or happy versus sad, or friendly versus more introverted. So you're going to start meeting points where they meet. So it might be that the characteristic is that, now I'm in a gym, I'm one of those people that eat well and train hard. I'm going to tell you I eat well and train hard. And so healthy is one of their characteristics, but with their mates in the pub, they were always known as the guy who could down a beer in one, who could eat more pizza than everyone else. No, this is not self-biographical. It could be. So then, in front of their mates, the characteristics are, I've got to drink still, I've got to eat rubbish, and I need to do that, because they're the characteristics my mates think are important. And then within that, there's drive. And if the drive is to be with their mates, then when you're in the gym, you'll still deny all the stuff you do with your mates, but at the same time, that'll be being detrimental to what you want to achieve. And at some point the trainer will find that, and they will just find, well, maybe it's the weekends that let you down, and then they go, by the time I give up the weekends with my mates, and so things come out. It might go the other way round. They might have to go out on a night out and show their character over their characteristics, which will cause grief and emotion as well when they have to say to their mates, no, I'm just drinking water tonight and probably missed the kebab. So you've got the conflict is what causes a change in emotion, and the change in emotion could be a problem for you to handle. And when you're improvising, that's a thing. So you're going to meet that, because you're going to be using questions and answers to direct the next question. And you're going to be using, why do you do that? And then, why is that important? And then, why is it important and you still choose to do that? And then, so what if you don't do the thing? So you're going to be building all this potential for their characteristics and character to clash. And then, so that could be tricky. So as an improvising trainer, you might have to know when to hold off and negotiate that, or not use it at all. But as a planning-based trainer, so now you get what they want to do, then what you can do is start to make a list of what emotions you want to change within a session. So we taught this for the first time, my business taught this for the first time at our FTE get together in Nottingham. And what I taught was planning a session where the exercise is the least important part of the session. It's the last thing you put in, the exercise and the intensity. And before that, you need to think about the emotion, the big emotional drive and change you want to make in the session. So from sad to happy, or from less confident to more confident, or from introverted to extroverted, or whatever you want to change, that big sort of shift in emotion or character through the one session. And then within that, you break each component down to each exercise. So you might have the first two exercises, I want them to feel a challenge and feel challenged and feel driven to do better in their challenge. Then the next three, I want them to feel motivated through difficulty. I want them to feel angry at themselves for not completing stuff. I want them to feel more negative style emotions that stir up this want to do well. And then the next three exercises, they're all about overcoming challenge and having fun. So the next three exercises, I'm going to build those as a sequence of trying to have more and more fun, more games in there, more entertainment, a different coaching style. And then the last two, I want them to feel achievement as they walk out. So my last two exercises will be built around show them how much better they are now than at the start of the session. And that would create this emotional roller coaster, which would link with the session's goal. And then you would do the same with the session goal. You would build over 12 weeks and build the sessions as an emotional roller coaster. And it's that planning that will allow you to choose a coaching style, the training tool, the training environment, your selection of words, your tone, maybe even your outfit, maybe their outfit, and that maybe what you do after the session, maybe what you do before the session. All those things will come together, and it will become really easy to plan. Because if you want to make it more, this is going to be aggressive and hard to do, it's going to feel motivational because of what I pull them through, then you adopt a more military style delivery. You take them outside or into a rough part of the gym, and that's your goal. So this is the first part of me starting to explain more about pre-planning and make your program more about experience. I'm almost out of time, so thanks for listening. But I'm going to keep on these and help you sort of decipher this, and maybe change your emotion so you want to buy a course. Thanks a lot. Bye.